asking, what's the definition of a snitch?
In this case, the definition, who rats out people that they were tight with, rats them out to law enforcement.
Ariella, 6ix9ine girlfriend, was shot and died in New York on August 17th. An unsettling new video of 6ix9ine in jail has just been made public. Fans believe her death and his arrest are related because of the timing. Was 6ix9ine's girlfriend murdered? The data we have suggests that it is beginning to appear that way. I have a complete breakdown. The Queen of New York is shot and killed. The narrative surprise that left everyone reeling came just when you thought this story couldn't get much wilder. On August 23rd, 6 days after Ariella's body was discovered covered in bullets, 6ix9ine was taken into custody. 2025 for breaking the conditions of his supervised release. Please let me know if you find the timing unusual. A new video of him has surfaced, which makes it even more bizarre. Let's take a step back and discuss how we got here before we get into the tangled specifics. When Ariella Lingasta Amaya Polano was discovered shot dead in her whip on the Cross County Parkway in Mount Vernon, New York on August 17, 2025, the streets lost a true one. Some cowards decided to shoot this 33-year-old Dominican queen while she sat in her black Mercedes-Benz G-Class around 8 in the morning. The medical examiner validated what we all feared. This lovely person died from many bullet wounds. Police labeled this an organized attack and categorically stated that it was not a random incident. Ariella was returning from her job as a bartender at Manhattan's Icon New York Lounge, where she was merely attempting to support herself and her two girls. Everyone who knew her claimed she was the kind of person who could brighten up any space she entered, and she had more than 566,000 Instagram followers. Listen closely, as this is where the situation intensifies. Ariella was no ordinary influencer. She was in the middle of a 6ix9ine circle, gone crazy lately, with some people referring to her as his girlfriend and others claiming that she was only a close friend. However, the streets begin to ask questions when someone you type with gets shot like that, and those questions aren't pleasant. Family, the speculation has been crazy. That's what happens when you deal with someone like 6ix9ine, a certified snitch who testified against the bloods of 9 trade gangsters. Everyone in your vicinity becomes a target. At one point, he acknowledged,
I don't take no L's. That's why I think that's why people hate me, because I'm so arrogant and but it's just me being like, yo, this is the truth, this is the facts. People hate the facts.
Why are you causing all these problems for yourself, sir?
I don't cause no problem, man, you know what I'm saying? I address them. That's me.
Following the latest incidents, there have been many hypotheses on social media that suggest that 6ix9ine's evidence against gang members led to Ariella's murder. When a person wrote, "That's why you don't date walking targets," they were posting the truth. Another person persisted, saying, "It's crazy to be near him." There is nothing positive to say about it. It gets deeper, though. According to rumors, Ariella was also connected to a man named Nada Cartier, who was questioned following her death and was identified as a suspected gang leader. As a result, theories are already flying around. Did her man's gang affiliations place her in the crosshairs, or was it 6ix9ine's history of snitching that made her a target? In any case, this lovely creature became embroiled in some lethal street politics. The actual crime scene revealed a tale of unadulterated brutality. Her car was discovered with bullet holes and broken windows, suggesting that the owner truly wanted to make a statement. The Westchester County Police Department demonstrated its seriousness about this case by bringing in federal, state, and local investigators. However, even though no suspects have been identified and no one has been arrested, the streets have been filling in the gaps with their own theories about who wanted the Queen of New York killed. The fact that Ariella's last Instagram post, which was published on June 7th, 2025, read, "happy and blessed," and featured her having a good time while wearing a cowboy hat, added to the tragedy of this murder. Just 2 months later, someone shot her dead like an animal on a roadway. The entire community was left wondering what kind of monster would do this to such a vibrant young mother. Due to the stark contrast between her happiness in that final post and the cruel way she passed away. Following the news of Ariella's shooting death, 6ix9ine's heartfelt homages on his Instagram stories moved the entire internet. My partner shared numerous images and videos of them together on social media, referring to her as an amazing, 6ix9ine referred to Ariella as an amazing woman and the epitome of New York royalty. The most genuine part, though, was when he stated, "My sister, you helped me through everything. New York won't be the same. I cherished you." In Spanish, he even wrote, "Yot a and mogra," demonstrating that their bond was more than just a friendship in the profession. It was family. He claimed that Ventura's Obsession was their favorite song, and the tributes continued to pour in. Through their posts, you were able to sense the suffering. Additionally, for someone who typically engages in trolling and disruption, witnessing 6ix9ine in a vulnerable position struck a new chord. It evoked a profound emotional response. There was no heart more beautiful, he called her. It was clear that this loss had deeply devastated him. Ariella's work family and the hip-hop culture also demonstrated their mad love. Keeping it simple, Cardi B honored a fellow Dominican queen by posting Riff Dominican Pretty on her Instagram stories. The tributes paid by the clubs where Ariella worked were extravagant. "We lost our shining star, Darila Lingasta. Today, Econ New York wrote, 'We have broken hearts. Your happiness, your modesty, and the manner in which you always stood out because everyone took such care of you. We still can't believe it,' they even stated. 'You were the source of our joy and pleasure. We shall always miss you, and we adore you.' With great sadness, we say goodbye to our great friend and companion of so many years," Ariella, Opus Lounge said, keeping it genuine and sincere. "Our favorite times were always accompanied by their light, happiness, and companionship." She was referred to by New York celebrities as a unique person, a lovely friend, a devoted mother, and a daughter whose smile and enthusiasm brightened every space she walked into. However, the streets continue to discuss the true reason why Ariella was shot while all these lovely tributes were flooding in. The most widely circulated argument is that her assassination was a direct result of 6ix9ine INE's cooperation with the federal government. When you rat on a 9 tray, gangsta bloods, as he did, you not only endanger yourself, but also everyone around you. And far too many folks had to discover that real-world information the hard way. However, 6ix9ine is unaware of this.
Let me ask them, what's the definition of a snitch?
In this case, the definition, who rats out people that they were tight with, rats them out to law enforcement.
What's loyalty to you, Charles?
Loyalty would be that you don't snitch on the people closest on your friends.
If another TMZ staff member kidnaps you, is that loyal to you? You're working right now, probably stealing all of the money that you're making right now and gives you crumbs of it, but it's taking majority of the money. Is that loyal to you? These are my people. Like, how many people I beefed with in 2018? I beefed with the whole West Coast. I beefed with the Houston. I beefed with Chicago.
Let's return to the dead. The rapper is being blamed by some. In the comments section, the majority of fans have been completely honest. People have been leaving prayers and heartfelt messages on Ariella's Instagram page. But they have also been posing difficult queries like "Rest in peace, beautiful soul." In addition, he's currently incarcerated. I wonder whether it's related. That type of genuine conversation demonstrates that individuals are doing more than simply grieving. They are making connections. The tribute outside Opus Lounge in Washington Heights was a powerful testament to the community's affection for Ariella. With flowers in hand, Jacilia Rodriguez remarked, "I'm very heartbroken just coming now knowing she had her 2 daughters. Very depressing." Annalie Hernandez, another enthusiast, kept it genuine when she remarked, "Dominican, it hurts a lot. Very lovely, this kind of thing. Terribly, terribly depressing." This murder fits into a larger pattern of violence that follows 6ix9ine wherever he goes, and that is what truly bothers people. From the Los Angeles gym beating in 2023.
That's how they gonna treat you. Oh, Mickey Mouse. Go ahead. Take a picture. Go ahead. Take a picture. I want to be famous now. I want to be famous. Fuck.
Yo, they just jump 6ix9ine, bro. Yo, homie, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm a fan, bro. No, I'm a fan. I'm just saying, bro. I'm a fan, bro. I know. I ain't jumping, bro. I'm just saying.
To ongoing dangers, and now Ariella is being shot. Death seems to follow this man everywhere. The story becomes even more bizarre at this point. which explains why the streets have been ablaze with rumors that this murder is more than simply another needless killing. Days later, 6ix9ine is locked up after sharing heartfelt condolences with his sister on social media. This man ended up back in federal custody, imprisoned at the same institution where Diddy and Sam Bankman are being held. At the Thurgood Marshall United States Courthouse in Manhattan, the federal authorities apprehended him, and boy, were they not playing around. The same judge, Paul A. Engel, who is also the mayor, condemned him in 2019, issued the warrant, and made him wait until his hearing on November 12, 2025. But wait, family. Allow me to explain why the streets believe this murder is related to this rainbow-haired snitch and what actually got her locked up again. You see, 6ix9ine has been breaking his supervised release as if it were pastime. He was hit by the government for 3 specific infractions, which infuriated his probation supervisor. First, without his PO's consent, this guy traveled to Las Vegas to perform at T-Mobile Arena with his rainbow head. When they questioned him about it, he flatly denied that he had ever gone. That is the first infraction. Furthermore, it has never been wise to lie before federal authorities. The second infraction, Homeboy has been repeatedly failing drug tests. He attempted to hide the fact that he had methamphetamine in his system on 2 occasions by claiming it was only his prescribed Adderall. The feds aren't buying that excuse. Nice try. The third strike. My man just failed to appear for a required drug test. As the saying goes, 3 strikes. Additionally, supervised release is not a topic of discussion in federal court. But wait, there's more to it than that. 3 MDMA tablets and cocaine residue were discovered in 6ix9ine's bedroom during a March 2025 federal raid on his Miami estate. He was forced to enter a guilty plea to 2 charges of drug possession on July 23, 2025. However, the prosecutors dismissed charges against him because DNA evidence could not directly connect him to the gun and fentanyl discovered in the pool house. On that August 23rd, 6ix9ine appeared in court and made an effort to defend himself. But his snitching game was stronger than his justifications. I flew up from Florida and woke up late for being tardy, he explained to the judge. I went to Las Vegas to perform at the T-Mobile Arena to make a living and thought I had. He remarked in reference to that trip. Authorization to do so. Homeboy persisted in claiming that I tested positive for methamphetamines because I was using Adderall as an excuse for those shady drug tests. The most genuine part, though, was when he became irate and spoke the words, "I'm human, bro. Because I cooperated with the federal authorities, I was jumped." That in and of itself says everything about how his snitching has been nagging him daily since 2019. The timing of this arrest sparked a flurry of conspiracy ideas. Posts linking 6ix9ine's arrest with Uriella's murder have been all over social media. Some claim that he was imprisoned by the federal government for his own safety. Others believe they, looking into if his infractions had anything to do with the shooting. They take his safety seriously, as evidenced by the fact that he is being housed at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn with well-known prisoners like Sean Diddy Combs and Sam Bankman-Fried. Let me now take you all back to the beginning of the snitching story, because that's the main reason why 6ix9ine has been watching him closely ever since Uriella may have been shot. Daniel Hernandez was captured by the federal government in November 2018 as part of a coordinated operation against the 9 Trey Gangster Bloods, a violent faction of the United Blood Nation that was spreading havoc in Brooklyn and Manhattan. The indictment was serious business. They accused him of violent crimes, conspiracy to commit murder, firearm violations, and racketeering conspiracy. Nor were they some trivial charges. If he is found guilty of all charges, he may face a minimum sentence of 32 years and a maximum sentence of life in prison. However, 6ix9ine decided to be a snitch rather than go to trial like a genuine one. As alleged in the indictment, this gang, which included platinum-selling rap artist Tekashi 6ix9ine, wreaked havoc on New York City, engaging in brazen acts of violence, said U.S. Attorney Jeffrey S. Berman, who did not mince words when he announced the accusations. The particular offense 6ix9ine took part in armed robberies in Times Square, paid $20,000 to have Chief Keef shot, and plotted to assassinate competitors. It reads like a street movie scenario. This rainbow-haired rat agreed to cooperate with prosecutors and entered a guilty plea to all 9 counts on January 23, 2019. In the fall of 2017, I joined the 9 Trey Bloods and confessed to paying $20,000 for someone to shoot at Chief Keef outside the W Hotel in Manhattan just to scare him, he said in court. However, 6ix9ine's 3-day testimony against Algiers Nuke Mac, Anthony Harv Ellison, and 9 Trey members was the true snitching that took place during the trial in September 2019.
Well, Tekashi 6ix9ine, his last day on the stand was last week, Friday. And he, of course, as you guys know, is testifying about the accused 9 Trey Gangsta Blood members, Anthony Harv Ellison and Algiers Nuke Mac. Now, he's talking about a lot of different things. And one thing that was part of his testimony was recordings of phone calls and conversations. One call was between Tekashi's former co-defendant, Jamel Mel Murder Jones, and Jim Jones.
This person corroborated particular incidents, gave identities, and described the gang's organization. He referred to Kfano Shadi Jordan as a senior member and Jamal Mel Murder Jones as the godfather. The prosecution described his cooperation as remarkable and game-changing, indicating that he divulged all of his knowledge and more. His evidence led to the conviction of Ellison and Mack, who are currently serving life sentences. His assistance was commended by Judge Paul Engelmayer, who said, "Your cooperation was outstanding. It changed the game. It was bold and comprehensive." But they criticized him for being a key member of a violent and cruel gang. Due to COVID-19 issues, he was released early in April 2020 after the judge sentenced him to 2 years in prison with 13 months credited. However, 6ix9ine has been paying the price for that partnership ever since. It also seems that Uriella might have covered the final cost of being near him before he was even jailed in 2018. 9 Trey members planned to super violate him for dismissing his management and disparaging them on the radio, according to federal wiretaps. To save his life, the federal authorities arrested him after warning him of a real threat to his life. At the time, prosecutors warned that the defendant's cooperation would undoubtedly change his life forever. He will need to take further safety measures with his family. They were right. 6ix9ine has been threatened and attacked, and now his friends are being shot. The way 6ix9ine has been acting following Uriella's passing adds even more suspicion to the whole affair. After praising them on social media, the man who is usually unable to stop talking about them fell silent for days. Then, without warning, he is arrested. Some claim that the federal authorities have been closely monitoring him since the murder, anticipating a mistake that would allow them to question him. Some believe that his infractions were merely a pretext to remove him from the streets before he was killed. A pretext to get him off the streets before he was killed. Since the beginning, people have been tying these dots together. There is no such thing as coincidence when someone with a 6ix9ine snitching past kills those around him. 6 days after Uriella was killed, on August 23rd, someone was arrested, which led others to wonder if the federal government knew anything about the shooting. Perhaps they imprisoned him for his own safety, or perhaps they are investigating whether his murder is connected to any infractions. That murder had something to do with infractions. Everything that has been said on social media about 6ix9ine being a walking target is beginning to make more sense. The history of abuse and violence that accompanies this man everywhere he goes, however, is what is truly concerning. 6ix9ine's troubled past with women is revealed, ranging from baby mama beatings to retaliation.
Okay, now you did an interview with the Daily Beast, and you talked about that throughout your relationship, there was a lot of domestic abuse.
Yeah.
Like, at what point in the relationship did the abuse first start?
It happened very early on in our relationship, like maybe a month after I moved in with him. That was the first time he put his hands on me. And I didn't know how to take that. Like, I've never had a guy put their hands on me. This is my first boyfriend. You know, I didn't know how to handle that situation.
However, before we conclude, We had the opportunity to discuss 6ix9ine INE's history with women because this trend has been going on for a lot longer than most people understand. This man has apparently been putting hands on women for more than 10 years, while everyone was preoccupied with his snitching and gang affiliations. Additionally, that history may provide us with some hints regarding what kind of individual we are actually interacting with. First up is Sarah Molina, who endured 7 years of suffering as the mother of his daughter Soraya due to 6ix9ine INE's maltreatment between 2011 and 2018. In her 2019 interview with the Daily Beast, Sarah detailed some horrific assaults that will leave your stomach spinning.
One incident was me and him was arguing. We was walking towards Marcy and by the factories. He wanted me to take pictures of him. Yeah, he punched me in my eye. Like, he punched me in my face. And it was like, I think I was trying to scuffle with him, but he punched me repeatedly and I had like 2 black eyes, and he left as soon as he did it. So I half fell asleep, and when he came back home, I guess I was sleeping, he saw my face and saw that I had like 2 black eyes. And I guess he woke me up and was like, I'm sorry, you know. He started crying.
She said that in October 2018, she was beaten for 2 hours straight in Dubai by this man, leaving her with bruises all over her body and 2 black eyes. The worst thing, according to her, was when he choked her and made her have an after meal while she was crying. In an interview with Daily Motion, Sarah remained completely honest when she recounted another instance in which he appeared to become suddenly stronger, more fierce, and more motivated to injure rather than just hurt. And to keep the neighbors from hearing her scream, he smothered it with a pillow. This isn't just. She claimed that neither of them had engaged in domestic violence, while he stated that some incidents had occurred. In fact, 6ix9ine acknowledged in his federal cooperation agreement that he had engaged in domestic violence between 2011 and November 2018. Hernandez admitted to domestic abuse between 2011 and November 2018, according to Judge Angelmir's confirmation in court. Sarah's account of what happened in Dubai is pure nightmare material. She claimed that after accusing her of having an affair with his manager, Kafano Shadi Jordan, 6ix9ine became enraged and began punching her once more. He began assaulting me for 2 hours straight. His eyes were the most insane. I felt afraid. I just have to set an example, he said after strangling her. I can't let you make me appear foolish in public. As she sobbed, he pushed himself on her. It goes beyond domestic abuse. Torture is what that is. She had a motive, though, for staying.
But you actually didn't leave.
Yeah.
But why is that?
I don't know. In a way, I felt stuck. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of felt numb to this situation because he was already doing it. And the extent of how he beat me in front of my daughter, it would have been one thing.
However, things worsened. 6ix9ine acknowledged in 2020 interviews that he was an addict and that, while dating Sarah, he had sex with over 70 women, which led to several pregnancies and sexually transmitted diseases. Picture yourself and your child stuck with a man who has beaten you, cheated on you, and brought illnesses into the house. For years, Sarah kept quiet in order to preserve her reputation. When she did speak, however, the details were heartbreaking. Additionally, we have Rachel Jade Watley, who began seeing 6ix9ine in 2018, just prior to his incarceration for that racketeering case. Jade's decision to show her loyalty by having 6ix9ine tattoos on her knee and chest was the first sign that this relationship was unhealthy. However, things went the other way in August 2022 when Jade was arrested for violence at Kiki by the River nightclub in Miami after hitting 6ix9ine and snatching his chain. The entire incident was captured by police surveillance, and she was given a no-contact order that mandated she keep 500 feet away from him. The weird part comes next. 6ix9ine stated to TMZ, "My relationship with Jade is fine, and I didn't press charges, even letting her and her kids stay in his Florida crib while he stayed at a hotel." That alone indicates that dysfunction has been the foundation of these relationships from the beginning. The degree of toxicity these relationships may reach is demonstrated by the fact that a woman felt compelled to physically assault him in public. The most current and messy situation involved Yalan Lamas Veril, a Dominican rapper who dated 6ix9ine from 2022 to 2024. Both of them were charged in this connection, which was pure mayhem. A camera captured a domestic altercation at 6ix9ine's house in December 2023, leading to Yalan's arrest. This footage appeared to show her striking him. However, according to TMZ, she didn't lash out until 6ix9ine essentially locked her in his house by refusing to give her money and passport. The entire incident in the Dominican Republic demonstrated how widespread the accusations of abuse against 6ix9ine had gotten. After Yalan's mother accused him of beating both her and Yalan, he was arrested in Santo Domingo in January 2024. On the radio, Yalan's mother claimed that after she attempted to stop him from assaulting her daughter, he attacked them. Yalan, however, testified in court that Tekashi never physically abused her, demonstrating how these toxic relationships cause mental health issues and force victims to defend their abusers. However, the real tea came in September 2024 when 6ix9ine sued 6ix9ine on a federal level, claiming that they had been sexually, emotionally, physically, and financially abused during their connection. According to court filings, the defendant has engaged in a heinous campaign of abuse against her in an attempt to control, dominate, and hurt her, as well as to distance her from her friends and family and defraud her of hundreds of thousands of dollars. The lawsuit's specifics read like the plot of a scary movie. At the baptism of her daughter, Yalan said he hit her. Imagine assaulting a mom at church while her child is participating in a sacred ritual. She claimed that in a classic act of abuser manipulation, he told her she was to blame for his aggression against her and threatened to throw her from a balcony. In addition, she claimed that during their August 2024 breakup, he drugged her, coerced her into needless cosmetic procedures to alter her look, and posted retaliatory images of her on social media. She is requesting damages of $1 million. 6ix9ine attempted to protect himself, insisting that I own all of that jewelry. I purchased the penthouse in the Dominican Republic that she is riding in. I looked after her family's daughter. However, the oldest tactic in the abuser's toolbox is to use money as an excuse for abuse. One of the most common types of domestic abuse is financial control, and his answer essentially supported Yalan's claim that he used money to manipulate her. The claims of retaliation are especially concerning since they demonstrate 6ix9ine's readiness to use private information as a weapon against women who defy him. Most jurisdictions have laws against posting private photos without permission, and it demonstrates a level of vengeance that goes beyond typical breakup drama. The way that 6ix9ine's history of abuse reflects his snitching conduct is what's truly sick. Whether it's ladies who let him into their hearts and beds, or gang members who brought him into their group, he betrays those who have the most faith in him. This man has a track record of ruining those closest to him. He hasn't learned from his mistakes, as evidenced by the fact that he continued to abuse women after confessing to 7 years of domestic abuse in federal court. When you consider this pattern, 7 years of mistreating Sarah Molina, erratic relationships with Jade and Ian, and a federal court admission of domestic violence, you see a man who lacks respect for women and has severe anger management problems. And negative things usually happen when someone with that background interacts with women. There isn't any concrete proof that 6ix9ine was responsible for Ariella's death. However, his history of violence and his habit of endangering women led people to take notice, posing inquiries. Whether it was his gang affiliations or something more personal that led to Ariella's death, being near 6ix9ine has been detrimental to women's health for over a decade. People continued to focus on the music and memes, despite the street's attempts to educate you about this man's character. Now that Ariella is dead, 6ix9ine is once more incarcerated, leaving a trail of mistreated women in his wake. Perhaps people should start paying attention to the messages conveyed by his actions over time. This phenomenon goes beyond gang affiliations or snitching. The women in his life suffer the most due to the man's tendency to destroy everything he touches. If you like this video and want to see more like it, please click the card on the screen.